Well, right now we're standing in front of the stranded animal rescue vehicle, and that's a really neat program that we have at SeaWorld, and it really shows our dedication to conservation. We have a stranded animal hotline number. It's 1-800-541-SEAL, and what happens is we'll either receive a call from a lifeguard or maybe someone on the beach that's found an animal that looks like they may be injured or ill, or it could be an abandoned pup. So we'll receive that call, and then we'll take out this truck and respond to the call and take a look at the animal. If we assess the animal and it looks like it does need some further care, we'll bring it back to the park and have our veterinarians assess the animal. Once the veterinarians assess the animal, they will give us a plan that they want us to carry out. Usually it goes something like this. The animal is dehydrated because it hasn't been eating. They get the water they need from the food that they eat. So if they're sick and they're not eating fish, they're usually very thin and dehydrated when they come to us. So the first step is to rehydrate them with fluid therapy. It's kind of similar to an IV. Make sure that we get them the fluids that they need, start them on fish if maybe they're a young animal and they don't know how to eat fish, and then once they put on weight and they've received any medications that the veterinarians have prescribed, they have good weight, they're socializing well with the other animals, then we'll release them. It's usually about a 2 to 3 month process, and it really depends on the animal's condition. Last year, I was involved in that program, hand-raising pups. We rescue majority of pinnipeds, which includes seals and sea lions, California sea lions, harbor seals you're going to find in this area. I believe this year we've rescued about 165 animals. Right now, I'm assigned to the sea otter exhibit. We have 4 California sea otters. They're all females. They all came to us from the Monterey Bay Aquarium. So we were able to hand raise just recently 2 of those pups. And what happens is those animals are found abandoned as pups on the beach in the Monterey Bay area. They're deemed non-releasable, and they need so much hands-on care from their human caregivers that eventually they find their place in a home like SeaWorld. So that's where our 4 otters came from. So my day is from 6 to 4:30. It's a 10-hour day. So I come in and I start the food prep for the animal. We feed them majority of shrimp and clam. We'll also give them crab. So I'll gate the animals between the different pools, and then I get to put on a wetsuit and snorkel and vacuum up everything that they've discarded the day before, and make sure that the exhibit is clean and ready for them and ready for the public. I'll spend some time putting ice or snow out on the exhibit, a lot of toys. We like to enrich them as much as possible. They're very intelligent animals. So once that's all done, I bring them out and spend the rest of the day feeding them and enriching them. Sea otters eat about 25% of their body weight a day, which is the equivalent of you or I sitting down to a Thanksgiving dinner and eating it entirely by ourselves every day. So they eat a lot, and we're feeding them throughout the day, trying to make it as enriching as possible, and not only getting them the diet that they need, but doing it in a fun and interactive way for them. Sea otters are known as a keystone species, or a keystone predator, which means they keep the population in check. One of the things that students will learn about in oceanography are currents, and one of the things that happens right off our California coast, which is really special, is a lot of upwelling, which is the movement of cold, nutrient-rich water that rises from the bottom to the top, and as a result we have these amazing kelp forests that are along the California coast. And in the kelp forest ecosystem, you have sea urchins that love to feed on kelp, and you have sea otters that love to feed on sea urchins. If sea urchins go unchecked, they will munch away at all the holdfasts of the kelp, and the kelp forest will pretty much float away unless you have sea otters to feed on the sea urchins and keep the population in check. So sea otters are a very, very important ingredient in the kelp forest ecosystem. I was really unique in that I knew I wanted to work with animals from a very young age. When I was in 5th grade, our teacher showed a program called Voyage of the Mimi, and it was about a team of marine biologists and oceanographers and students that went out off the East Coast on a boat and studied humpback whales. And for the 6th grade field trip, we came to SeaWorld, and I just fell in love with the place. I knew that I wanted to pursue a science major, and so once I finished high school and jumped right into all my classes, I knew I wanted my degree to be in biology. So I took all the physics and calculus and science classes that I needed to take. It was very difficult for me. It didn't come easy for me, but I hung in there, and eventually I graduated from Cal State Long Beach with my degree in marine biology. And from there, I just wanted to build up my resume as much as I could. So I found out a bunch of internships. A great resource is the aza.org website. It's the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. So I did a couple of internships. I went to Utah, I went to Alaska, I did a marine mammal training internship in Baltimore at the aquarium there. Really tried to build up my resume. Also did some volunteer experience in the aquariums around Southern California. So when it came time to look for a job, I set my focus on SeaWorld because I knew I wanted to work here, and found out that they only hire from within for their animal areas. So I got a position with the education department, and my role was to lead tours and speak at exhibits. We did some camp programs, and once there was a part-time position available in the mammal department, I was chosen for that job. And that part-time work mostly involves bucketing a lot of fish that is delivered throughout the park. Those shifts start at 6 a.m. So there's a team of 4 that puts all those buckets together and delivers them. So it's very labor intensive, and you also get introduced to some of the animal areas. Once a full-time position was available, I was fortunate that I was chosen for it. One of the neat things about my department is we rotate every year into different animal areas. So I've been able to work with manatees, commerson dolphins. I spent last year with the stranded animal program, and then this year I'm working with the sea otter exhibit. So you never know where you're going to go. It's really diverse. You get to work with a lot of different animals, and so I'm having a great time with the sea otters right now. There's a lot of different opportunities at SeaWorld. We have a lot of departments. The department I'm in is the mammal department, but we also have animal training. There's a lot of people that are interested in doing the shows, and it's the same kind of qualifications, scuba certified, CPR certified. Really, they're looking for an entertainment presence, that you're comfortable doing drama and being on stage. We have an excellent aquarium department. We have a lot of bird opportunities, and of course the behind the scenes, all the office staff and the support staff that goes into the park. My advice for students that are interested in this field is, first of all, to get your college degree, but get it in something that really interests you. For me, science really interested me. It was hard for me. I certainly wasn't the smartest one in the class. So be encouraged if you're not making straight A's. You can make it through, but get a degree in what interests you, because it's a very competitive field and you want to be able to pursue what interests you. We have a lot of various degrees in our department. We have geography, history, someone with an English degree, so it doesn't necessarily have to be science, but on top of that, I would encourage you to get as much experience as possible, and then with your relationships with your peers or with your professors, just work on having a professional attitude, because if you're interested in a place like SeaWorld, they want you to be able to represent the company to the public, and so they're also looking for that too.